about to sit down. Let's see how long I can do this for. I guess I went viral on MSNBC because they asked me a question about what I felt about the protesters' violence. And I told them, and they cut this part out, that you can't do violence to buildings. Violence is when you shoot people in the face. Violence is when you beat people with batons. Violence hurts. Buildings don't feel pain. That doesn't mean we need to burn the building down, but it means that the answer to someone doing graffiti or throwing a firework at a building is not smacking them in the face with a baton or cracking their skull with a rubber bullet. What I said on the TV that made the news was, I said, the first week we were coming out here with t-shirts and hula hoops, and they started gassing us. So we came back with with respirators, and they started shooting us. So we came back with vests on, and they started aiming for the head. So we started wearing helmets, and then they started calling us terrorists. And I asked, who's escalating this? Because it's not us. Like I said earlier, I'm here to defund the police. Some people are here to defend the police. I'm not going to get into that. We are out here saying every day, 65 days, that Black Lives Matter. Through all the drama about, is this still about Black Lives? We were out there the whole time on the ground saying Black Lives Matter. Talking about George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. We don't protest for 65 days straight because Black Lives Matter. You cannot protest for something. Does that make sense?
Right. No,
you have to protest against something. So if we are protesting because the cops killed Breonna Taylor, and the cops killed Kendra James, and the cops killed Patrick Kimmons, and the cops killed George Floyd, and the former cops killed, and the cops covered up the killing of Ahmaud Arbery, then what are we protesting? We are protesting the police. Stop being scared. People don't want to protest the police because the police keep the wheels turning. The police have ends to everything. The police donate to the NAACP. So they don't want the police to go away. They want to distract you. They want to talk about how Black Lives Matter, which is not a distraction, but the most important, the single most important and actionable thing we can do right now for Black lives is to defund the police. 73% of the inmates in jail across this country are Black or Latino. We make up less than 25% of the population. Black people are pulled over 60% of the stops for traffic violations in Portland are of Black people. We are 6% of the population. One of my homies, my big homie, wanted to start a gang outreach program. The cops won't let him do it because he can't hang out with the other bangers. You guys, it's not just about taking their money to fund all these programs that everybody's up here talking about. Big Sam gave a speech earlier about all these programs we could fund. Little mom over here from the school is talking about all the stuff we can fund. All the things that we need. We don't have paper in school. People gotta bring their own supplies, but the cops don't gotta buy their own bullets. We gotta really think about this. The cops spend $1 billion every 4 years. Over $1 billion. I'm rounding down. The budget last year was $255. This year it's $253. But they say they cut it by $15 million. You do the math. They'll tell you anything to defend the police. Because the police keep the rich rich and the middle class. And they don't even care about the poor. And what they do is they get us to fight against the poor. They get us to complain about the crime. But crime is not something that police have ever stopped. Otherwise, the $255 million they spent last year would have stopped all those shootings. But they just show up afterwards, just like everybody else. But they get paid for it. We need to defund the police because we are spending money. The cost of policing in Portland has gone up $100 million in less than 10 years. And the crime rate has not changed at all. In fact, it's gone up. So the police aren't working. We have no problem funding the police, and we have no problem defunding our schools. But when we talk about defunding police, you start hearing a lot of himmer, hummer, yama, yama. The people that get up here and talk, the politicians and everyone else, they're going to talk a lot of himmer, hummer, yama, yama, and talk about how Black Lives Matter and George Floyd. But they're not going to say defund the police. Pay attention to me. I'm telling you this because I'm the only person today that said this out loud. The only one. The only one. What have we been in the streets for 65 days for? To defund the police. We're protesting the police, and they don't want us to defund the police, so they try to sell us other stuff. They try to sell us Juneteenth holidays. They try to sell us renamed streets. They want to paint Black Lives Matter across downtown, where they've been gassing us. Explain this to me. They spent more money gassing us. The feds came in and they bought more tear gas and then said they're going to pass a law they can't use it. You got to pay attention. This is real. And the counterinsurgency of it is real as well. There are people among us that don't want us to do this. Dead ass. There are people among us that work for the police, or that are compromised by the police and therefore are doing what they have to do to make them happy. People will not get up here and talk about defunding the police. And people will definitely not get up here and talk about disbanding the Portland Police Union. These are words that can get you killed. And I'm serious. When the police shot that boy in the back with the AR-15, that child, Quanice Hayes, because he didn't have enough. And he was out in the street with a cap gun. And they shot him in the back while he got off his knees to run because they were shooting him rubber bullets. You got to keep in mind that they shot Breonna Taylor in her house while she was sleeping. And they'd already caught the person the warrant was executed for. They killed George Floyd, a person that worked with him at another job, kneeled on his neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds because they thought he passed a counterfeit $10 bill that wasn't even counterfeit. And then they blamed it on COVID. And the same people say COVID is fake. Y'all gotta pay attention to what's going on out here. I'm not out here to chant. I'm not out here to sing. I'm out here for you guys to understand the moment that we're really in. I want you to stop listening to MSNBC even though I'm on there. I'm dead serious, you guys. If you want to listen to people you can follow on Twitter to show you what's going on the ground, I'll send it to you. Black people. They try to tell us this is white people that wanted this. Who wants to defund the police? There's a lot of black people up here saying they wanted to defund the police. I asked my big homie, when you were 16 and you got in trouble and they took you out your house and put you in a group home and you learned about real crime, what was it you needed before you became a Crip and started banging? He said he needed some counseling. Why wasn't he given counseling? Why did they take him out of his house and put him in a home where he didn't get counseling? Why did they take my little brother at 17 years old over a weed charge, give him a Measure 11, and now he's fucked up for life? He's a genius. But he'll never be the same as he was. My son is 18 years old, he just graduated. There was no applause. He graduated at home, like all your kids, like some of y'all in this crowd. We could do way more for our kids besides this nonsense we're gonna do Zoom calls if we had money from the police. The police on one end will lock our kids up and they want us to pay for it. You know that 75% of your property taxes, because a lot of y'all own homes, I own a house, 75% goes to the cops. Every single homeowner on average pays $3,500 a year in property taxes. That's average. I spend $3,000 I spend on the cops every year. I'm sick of it. That could go to my schools. That could be community gardens. That could be ending food deserts. That could be getting counseling. That could be going to the programs that we already have that are here. They want to give us, hold on, I don't need claps. They want to give us in this new Reimagine initiative that a lot of politicians are going to be talking about tomorrow and the day after. and they want to meet with us to talk about it and have us in little groups together, right? And they're going to offer you this plan. There's a lot of stuff we didn't ask for. They want to give us $2.5 million to look at ways that we can reimagine a community safety. We already have ways to reimagine community safety. We just don't fund them. Randall Wyatt has a program called Taking Ownership PDX. He fixes people's houses for free. Black people's houses get fixed for free. Sam has a bunch of programs. They all need funding. They all need funding. Everyone in here knows someone that has a program. My guy Rams has a program for community policing, where we take care of each other. Not even community policing, community defense. So we take care of each other. He's meeting with 3 other people I found that all have these organizations. None of them are funded. We don't need $2.5 million for the Urban League to research. That's not what we need. They just got a $12 million check. They just got it for interrupting our protests and telling people to be peaceful and happy and pretending that's the reason the cops went home. Pay attention to what's going on. Republicans, they want cops. Democrats, they want cops. It's okay to vote for the Democrats. I'll vote for the Democrats because they're better than Republicans. But they don't want the same things as you either. Because they're rich too. And they need the police. All these empty apartments up and down Williams. Who guards them? The police. Where are the homeless people being guarded by other police? The police get it on both sides. And we pay for it. It's our right to ask them to spend less money. We should not have to vote on them doing their jobs properly. That's not why we're in the streets. If we wanted to vote for it, we'd wait for it to be on the ballot. But last I checked, I've never seen take money off the cops on the ballot. So when they tell you we're doing all this to vote, tell them bullshit. We're doing all this to put this on the ballot. It's still America. I'm not saying the mob's gonna rule. But the only way we're heard in this society is if we have money or if we take these streets. They isolated us downtown. We were taking the streets. They isolated us downtown where nobody cared. Then they bombed us and gave us TV coverage. They do flashbangs at me. They knocked my phone out the hand with the flashbang. I'm a journalist. Before I got arrested and shot in the face, I didn't really care that much. But when you go out there saying to fund the police, they shoot you in the face. There's a reason for that the police shoot you in the face. You've seen the article in the Oregonian with the holes in the heads? I'm in one of them pictures. They didn't break my head because I had a helmet that said press, and they shot me from 50 yards away in my face because I've been covering this and telling this story. There is risk to this. When the police are gone, we have to take care of each other. But I'm not scared of my brothers. This man up here with an extended clip in his pistol, I didn't even flinch. That black man cares about me. Like he cares about you and he's here to keep us safe. I don't feel that way around the police. And that's not my fault. I'm not the one escalating shit. It's them. And that's what I came here to say. When they ask you to vote, when they come in and ask you to be on their side and talk with us, I want you to look up the definition of being co-opted. Look it up. I'm not going to recite it. Look up the definition of being co-opted. That's what they want to do. They're going to grab some of us and say, hey, come into a room. Isn't this what you really want? You don't really want to defund the police. Don't you just want oversight? Don't you just want us to fix the oversight program that we've been working on for the past 50 years? Don't you want us to finally do it? Isn't that what you really want? Aren't you tired of getting tear gassed? Aren't you tired of walking every day? Come in here. Come in this room. Let's talk about it. I'll put some of this $2.5 million towards your program, and then we'll call this a day. That's how it happens. That's how we lose our leaders. I don't want to be your leader. I will never do that. Talk to the leaders that want to lead and see if they want the things you want. Not if they want to say the things that you want to hear. But if they're willing to put their ass on the line and do what you're asking for. Ted Wheeler came in as a police reform, as a mayor for police reform. Don't forget that it was only 4 years ago. I sat in his office 4 years ago. Me and Greg and Alan. Where's Alan Bell at? Me, Greg, and Alan over there with the cart in the back. The one that sells you snowballs. We sat in that meeting and we told him, you have the lowest crime you've ever had in Portland. And he said, yes, but we have a crisis. We don't have enough officers. And we said, the crime is the lowest it's ever been. And he said, but it's not going to stay that way. And we said, yes, it will if you don't keep hiring cops. And he said, no. And they ordered more cops. They got 100 more cops, and they got a new gang task force. They renamed the Gun Reduction Safety Team or some nonsense. After the last time we got rid of Charlie Hales, they brought it right back with a new name. No one knew what it was. Sounds great. Gun Reduction Plan. This was a gang task force. This out here profiling black people. I got a file in there, and I ain't never been in a gang in my life. It's important that we understand that they're going to say one thing, and they're going to do another. Most of y'all in this crowd are as old as me or older. Y'all have seen this for decades, that they lie. I'm telling you the truth. I hope that you heard me. Defund the police. Can we get it one time? Defund the police. Defund the police. Defund the police. So we can invest in our communities. Thank you.